I think the Biohack Yourself documentary is the inception. It's like the seed, the stone that started the ripple effect of this movement that goes out to the masses and brings real healing.
What I like about the documentary, based on the faces that I've seen you guys have, most of the stuff is scientifically backed up and it's doable things that you can start implementing tomorrow.
Well, I think it all started with my personal health journey. I used to be 315 pounds.
So we're just honored to be here, to be the vessel with Omni-Media approach, with documentaries, Instagram, social media, magazine, and in every single way.
Who was your favorite guest of Biohack and what made them stand out the most?
Miguel Bertonatti and Carlos
Thank you very
Bertonatti.
much. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of Beyond Biohacking Brothers, where we explore everything about longevity, optimization, biohacking, and beyond. As always, I'm joined by my brother Carlos, and today we have the great pleasure and honor of having Anthony and Tereza Lolli, who are visionary innovators that have reshaped the space of health and wellness through award-winning documentaries like The Guru in 2021, Skin Deep in 2022, and their latest groundbreaking 4-part series, Biohack Yourself. So guys, I think where we need to start is what made you guys decide to start this documentary like Biohack Yourself? And was there any specific moment or experience that sparked the idea?
Well, I think it all started with my personal health journey. I used to be 315 pounds.
Incredible.
And so, I had big issues. The issue was I didn't want to lose the weight. That was the main issue, and it was Tereza's encouragement for me to actually change and do this transformation. But it was many different avenues, and it really didn't work until I got proper guidance and coaching. So when I first tried to lose the weight, I tried to take a shortcut. I got the gastric sleeve, which consequently allowed me to lose 50 pounds, but then I gained 70. Right. So when that failed,
with the gastric sleeve,
I stretched the stomach back out. But then I was in a worse condition because of the sleeve, I couldn't absorb food and nutrition, protein, steak. Right. So now I was just eating and drinking my calories. Right. And so now I got fatter and I had less muscle. Nutrition. Yeah. And so then I was getting sleep apnea, then my condition worsened, and then I basically told her I'm going to do suicide by food, basically, because I made a commitment to just die being fat and happy is what I told her. Mm-hmm. Then when we had our kids, Tereza was instrumental in really putting me in a position to where I wanted to lose the weight.
Yeah, and so it's interesting because we have 3 people that kind of have a similar story, but like when it comes to weight loss, there's so many obstacles in the way, especially in modern life, right? That what you said to yourself was an identifying moment. Like you identified with, I'm just going to be happy and fat. Because this is so hard. Right. And that's like such a typical pattern for people that try to go on a weight loss journey without proper guidance, without the proper information, without the proper steps, and they end up becoming frustrated or even worse, analysis paralysis because of all the contradictory advice. Correct. Right.
And there's one other thing, right? The proper vision.
Yeah.
So I think for him, that had to do everything with him to not succeed or succeed in his weight loss journey. First, it was just weight loss. So he never had the vision of the end result. Mm-hmm. It was just, okay, let me just lose some weight. Yeah. However many pounds that would be, whether it's 20 pounds, 50 pounds, right? That he would set a goal and then he would fail because it was losing weights, counting pounds. That's exhausting. Yeah. It really clicked in his head when we created this vision board image of his head photoshopped on a very muscular man's body that we just found on Google. And then we printed it out, put it all over the house, literally on the ceiling. The first thing he woke up, he saw that. Wow. And only after that, where his vision got really clear of, wow, like that could technically be possible. So he started seeing that. And based on that, he started searching things on Instagram. And this transformation coach popped into his world, and then this whole world of transformation came to us, right? So there's weight loss community, and then there's transformation community.
Yeah, right.
And even for my journey, I just had 10, 15 pounds to lose as a mom. But losing those pounds was exhausting. I lost, I gained, I lost, I gained. It wasn't until, again, I said, well, I want to look like a Victoria's Secret model. And I did the same thing. Photoshopped it, and I said,
And you did.
transformation. Right. So I think it's a big key to have that final vision before you even consider where to start.
Well, 100%, because, we had Ben on the show, and one of the things that we pounce on is the thing that allowed him to lose the weight was changing his chip, the mental chip. And it was, going back to the identity thing. Now, it wasn't about losing the weight. It was who I wanted to be, how I wanted to be. And that image, that clear vision, clear image of what you want the end result to be, and then not getting bogged down with the little obstacles that you'll have, the ebbs and flows, the course corrections that you'll deal with is, hey, I'm shooting for this end picture.
Yeah.
And it also very important to know that it's not until you actually, again, change the identity of it and start understanding that this is a lifestyle that those changes won't be permanent.
And a common thread also, like, dude, I've seen your pictures and I've seen the videos and the transformation. You look like a completely different human being.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you? Like, what was the whole process?
It was 9 months. I lost 125 pounds, and then I had to do a loose skin surgery in order to compete. So that I completely erased what I looked like, and I basically became a new man.
Wow.
Mostly outside. Then we ended up focusing on the inside.
Listen, again, I just love to have people on the podcast that their movement from, Sandy being the Biohack Expo, everybody's had a transformational change from the movement they're doing. Talking about movements. So looking at the stats of America, which look pretty alarming and scary, 2 out of 3 are overweight or obese. 1 in 2 Americans either have a heart attack, are dying from cancer or have blood pressure issues. 1 in 3 have metabolic syndrome, non-alcoholic fatty liver, cardiovascular disease. The list goes on and on. Now, how is this documentary going to shake things up for people to take control of their health? How do you think because you guys have interviewed so many people.
Yes. Well,
and for you guys personally, I can't imagine what that must have been of constant, where do you go? There's so much information.
So typically a documentary is some stranger production company, focusing on a subject matter. In this case, we were the subject matter, really going through our own personal journeys. Both Tereza and I recognize that extreme bodybuilding, dieting, and doing those competitions, you can look good on the outside, but what's on the inside is completely different. So Tereza was left with hormone imbalances.
Yeah. I went into early menopause.
Even reproductive menstrual cycle issues. I'm assuming they were erratic.
Absolutely.
8% body fat for 10 months is basically detrimental for a woman.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so then we noticed that our daughter had a golf ball sized lymph node on her neck. And then we noticed that our son had mold toxicity where we thought he was autistic. So each one of us were not out of the woods. I had lost the weight, but then now it was Tereza's turn. And so in the natural order of things, we did the Fat Lolli documentary, basically to document my transformation. We did the docuseries to document her transformation. With Biohack Yourself, it was really us figuring out, just like most moms and most parents, where do I start? Where do I begin? You think about homeopathy, naturopaths,
so many.
All those type of different things, right?
Well, so it's very overwhelming, right? The moment you understand you don't want to go the traditional medicine route because they're failing you, obviously. They're not giving you straight answers. They're giving you misdiagnosis. They're giving you medication that you're like, it doesn't really make sense, right? So then you start learning and searching. So when I started searching, I was very overwhelmed. But I put a goal in front of me. I said, I'm going to see 20 of these alternative people, whether it's a homeopath, naturopath, herbalist, alternative medicine, functional medicine. I didn't even know what the difference was between them. I just knew that they don't belong to the traditional medicine. And we went. It took me about 8 months, right? 8 months of just digging, blood works, testing, stool test, this test, Lyme disease test, glyphosate test, everything, to then be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and only to understand my son just has 2 copies of the MTHFR gene mutation.
Wow.
And we had mold in the HVAC system, like 2 innocent things.
Wait, inside your HVAC system?
Inside of our HVAC system that wasn't lasered or wasn't clean, so mold. But it was so insignificant that but it never hurt me, Anthony, or Love. However, it affected Legend to the point of him being misdiagnosed with potential autism, potential Lyme disease, potential autoimmune conditions, potential acid reflux, potential of everything. At the age of 8 years,
which is
8
a
months old.
frightening. It's a frightening diagnosis that can lead you down a path of really wrong steps.
To the point of, if had I taken the first medication, which was iron supplement given to me by NYU Langone, I'm gonna just say it right out there, and once we found out what was it actually, had I given him that medication, he would have been autistic.
Yeah, right.
Because
You
he
could've
can
changed his
methylate
brain.
iron.
Right,
And especially at that age, they're still
age.
developing. It's going to
so
rewire their
dangerous.
brain. Yeah.
And you know
Would
what
change
else
his
happened?
identity, his personality, everything
Changes
about him.
everything. I mean, so once we discovered everything, once we found the herbalist, which I went with. So what happened later is this herbalist who I really liked because she was very available over text message. And I'm like, if she's going to work on my child, I want somebody to be on call 24/7.
Yes, of
So then I
course.
said,
Hands on
okay,
deck.
give me your protocol. She gives me a protocol of like 40 of this herbal supplements. So I take it back to the 5 of the functional medicine doctors that I saw and took a liking. And I said, listen, I'm not going to go with you because you're not as available. But this is about my child's life. Would you mind looking at this protocol and telling me what your thoughts are? Because I want to go with this one person. So all 5 of them approved this protocol. And only then I injected something in my child, through the mouth. So within 6 months, lights went on.
Wow.
The kid is talking, active, joking, smiling, sleeping, right?
Yeah.
Complete different child. Wow. So then it just dawned on us, right? Like how many parents are just messed up with their
Victims to the system.
victims. And also at the same time, we were dealing with the schooling system. So I ended up changing 5 different schools. Like every semester we were going to different schools. So I had the privilege of meeting all kinds of different moms, all kinds of different children, from private school to public school to Montessori to Waldorf, the types of people and the types of kids. And the sickness was hitting them all hard.
Yeah.
So that was the defining moment where, we looked at each other and we said, well, we need to do something in this biohacking space because they are all kind of operating under the same umbrella, all these alternative people. And I bet you we're going to find more things than we even know. We just touched the tip of the mountain. So we decided to roll the cameras.
Yeah, we decided to roll the cameras really in our discovery. And I think it started with, we discovered red light therapy, and then we discovered Dr. David Minkoff.
Yeah.
where
That
we
was your first discovery?
Yeah, we were working with
Man,
him.
you landed in a good place.
So it was
Yeah.
very good. And
He
then
was
we,
local to us.
He was
So
local
that
to
helped.
us. That helped. And so we said, why don't we create literally an encyclopedia and a reference point? Because the way she checks things is like we talk to 5, 10, 15 different people
Yeah.
before we hone in on someone. And so we said this curation process, plus we had the help of Stephen Klein, who was also very familiar with the
Yes.
industry and let us know who was right and who was wrong. So having him as kind of like our seeing eye dog plus
Sort
the
of a
watchdog,
GPS.
it really kind of said this would be really helpful for Tereza 2 years ago. So we really created something that we would have loved to have watched. And it's really sincere. So after her meeting all the moms and me talking to the dads and seeing the pain, we have different levels of friendship. Some people on a very, very high financial level, the most miserable because of the kids being sick and the autism and this and that. And so the story was the same. I took that, or my kid took this vitamin or whatever. And we said, we want to create something that's going to help, families.
Literally, we wanted a toolbox,
Right.
tools, solutions, products. We went and hunted for not only experts, right, who are just the leaders in the industry, but also just founders and CEOs and, not so famous doctors that are really transforming lives.
That deserve the life.
Right. And that leads me to the next question, which is, what's impressive because, we're in the industry. So I've watched many documentaries about health, and usually they're focused on one specific topic or subject, or it's usually a medical expert or some guy like you guys just trying to find out what that topic is about. But what you guys have done that is so incredible, and I have so much respect for you guys about that. And you guys came like a night in the, like a thief in the night.
Yeah, it's a
That's me
biblical
being
term.
dyslexic, by the way. I do that all the time.
Like a night in the thief.
But you get the point.
Yeah.
The point is, you guys came in and put together everybody I've ever learned from that Carlos and I have, followed on YouTube and like, dog, you literally have put everybody together, plus minus two that, you know.
Everybody was a master in their field.
Yes, and to have an umbrella where you guys have almost every modality, every form of medicine under one roof makes it such an icon and unique product that I would like to know, kind of like the story of how did you guys do on choosing and working with over 200 experts?
Well, the simple answer is we actually went through the process with them. So in the case of medical health,
But what, one pointed you to the other one and you kept jumping
correct.
around? Okay.
That's what it is. We started working with these practitioners in our own lives. Myself, Tereza, Love, Legend, my mother, putting ourselves through the protocols and processes and really saying, is this real? Is it impacting us?
Right.
Is it working for me?
Is it working? And so we really wanted to make that sincere recommendation. Then, of course, we started recognizing, just like you guys saw, that the real people that are real, they all know each other.
Yeah.
And
that definitely
kinda
brought
helped.
everybody legit to the documentary. Because
Right.
had we taken the approach of us actually doing the vetting, could have taken a
Yeah.
few more years.
Yeah,
So the way we did Biohack Yourself was, we commissioned Stephen Klein. We said, okay, bring us the modalities, tell us what to cover, what to not cover, which one is the snake oil red light, which one is the best red light, which one is the best mineral. So he really was instrumental because he's been in the world for more than 10 years and he actually battled his own body. He repaired his own body after a dramatic car
it's
accident
crazy,
that almost
story.
took his life.
Yeah.
But we did the same thing with SHIELD, our SHIELD documentary, which stands for
Which thank
Shield.
you for finally bringing a female optimization documentary. It's never been done, and beautiful, man.
Yeah, Biohack is the brother and Shield is the sister.
Yeah.
All
And
part
we
of the
brought
same
JJ
umbrella.
Virgin on board. Again, we find that one person who we trust and believe and is credible. And we say, okay, you are our vetter.
Yeah.
So you will cast people, bring them to us, then we'll do the final casting. So that's how we're actually expediting these casting processes.
Right.
It's amazing. So, yeah, so it's kind of like an advisory board of who is
Correct.
actually legit.
Correct.
Yeah. And it's really funny because what you guys have brought, so, up until this point and still now, I mean, I think, like I told you that day, like, I think the Biohack Yourself documentary is the inception. It's like the seed, the stone that started the ripple effect of this movement that goes out to the masses and brings real healing. Because up until this point, when you say the term biohacking, it's almost like, especially when you're like in the conventional field, it's almost like this hocus pocus, oh, you're not a real doctor. That's all like herbal stuff. Yeah, that's not real medicine. And it's so funny to me when you say this is, alternative medicine. Like we still consider an alternative medicine, but guess what? Putting your feet on the ground, looking at the sun and moving is not alternative. That is the fundamentals of health.
Sure.
So when you talk about red light and photomodulation and grounding and all of these things, that's what our ancestors had available that we now have been sort of extracted from in modern lifestyle. So it's funny how this now biohacking is really bringing us back to what's not alternative medicine.
Correct.
This is the foundation of health.
Yes.
Is it funny that it took one man, which is the Rockefeller,
Yeah.
to
One man.
literally one man
Yeah.
to decide what to do and change decades and decades of how people view
Century.
medicine.
Correct.
Yeah. And
Correct.
how many people died because of that. And
They
so
bought
now,
the media, and then they bought the
Propaganda
they bought a chemical company, which were the ones that made the bombs for World War II. Sure. And that's how they basically started the medical school with chemicals made from petroleum.
Yeah.
That's how they started
and
medicine.
just if I may add to kind of round out the point, that I think that the practitioners that you've put together with most of them are doctors. The cool thing that I find, because we know doctors in every category and every level, right? But the ones that we're attracted to the most and the guys that you guys brought on to the scene and kind of set the stage for them are people who really identify themselves as healers.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I feel almost bad for some of the new doctors that are coming into the field because they go into, I believe that 100% of doctors go into it with the right incentive, the right purpose. Hey, I want to help people. But then that spirit of the healer, it's almost like it gets ripped out of them by the mechanics of insurance, big pharma,
coding,
and the
all that stuff.
the quotas that they need to meet
And their
as
personal
doctors.
overhead too. Their personal overhead.
Correct. And the liability,
Yes.
right? Like today, doctors are more concerned about, malpractice insurance than anything else. right?
Yeah.
Because of this suism that we have. But it's like the whole system has been perverted, right? And now I think that you guys are creating with this movement the right incentives.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
The right incentives.
We're creating a safe space. We want to let the people know that these are genuine practitioners that we found, and you get to meet them. That's what makes our documentary different. Normally, you watch a documentary, it's a bunch of fear-mongering and finger-pointing at the problem.
Right.
And when someone's drowning, you don't want to describe the water. You want a life vest.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so what we did with this documentary is we started meeting people that you could actually watch the documentary, go on their Instagram, listen to their podcast, actually go to their office. You can engage with these people.
Yeah.
They're real people, not some celebrity doctor that you look at the
Like you
credits.
guys, for example.
Yeah. So
We've sent so many of our friends to you guys, and we are most positive results because
Yeah.
you can actually work with you directly.
right.
That it goes to say that what I like about the documentary, based on the faces that I've seen you guys have, most of the stuff is scientifically backed up, and it's doable things that you can start implementing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And as you said, I can watch pieces of that individual. Hey, that really resonated with me. Now I'm going to go make an appointment with their clinic and get help. In other words, if you have cancer or you go through the story that you guys went through, just watch this entire 4-part series and you will find something based on whatever your experience that will guide you in the right direction. In other words, you guys mapped out the GPS for almost every form of alternative medicine. If you're cancer, mold, metabolic syndrome, whatever it is, right?
Well, we also created a website that's the exact same name of the documentary, right? So it's biohackyourself.com. So you can learn more. So we've written articles about the
I
practitioners.
really love the articles.
Right, the
that you guys
document
put
is the preview to going to the website and going fuller into
Full
that
of- and then
interview.
the articles
and
actually have direct links to their website, direct links to their podcast, direct links to their Instagram, and most of the people we featured in the film, they're real. They're posting stories. They're even ourselves. We're still using all the products till this day, and even new products.
No, dude,
And the beauty
Teresa
of
sends me the picture. You guys have a whole entire room of supplements.
Yeah.
And the beauty of the website is that, okay, the documentary we filmed, and at that time, this was it, right? But the beauty of this industry is that it's growing so fast, so
The
beautifully.
awareness.
It's unfolding right in front of our eyes. And I say that this is a new era we're starting, just like the Rockefeller era was that. This is it.
Oh,
and you
so
mentioned
cool. You're
earlier.
killing it. You're putting a stop to it,
An
baby.
era. And you
Damn, again, sorry.
That doesn't work.
The thing is, you
Too much
mentioned
testosterone.
earlier, and you said earlier that this is the sickest our nation been. This is the sickest
we've ever
people have
been.
Which
And
is
confused.
to me, it's a little bit. It's eerie, but it is exciting because when you're at the bottom, this is it. We're now about to start rising.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of a new era. And with our website, we're actually bringing new breakout products, new experts, new discoveries. Every day, we're now at the front lines of reporting on news, and even we're shocked. Oh my gosh, this just happened. This just happened.
Yeah. Like red dye is no
Yeah, and
longer.
you know what?
So
It's
the way,
also-
the
it's
way.
also
Let me
about-
just add to that. The way what you just said, I love it. There's a quote that always reminds me of that: strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times, and we're in those hard times creating good men. I mean, strong men. But one of the things that we always preach is that because of the attack of endocrine disrupting chemicals and all these chemicals, masculine men are not fully developing or sprouting their masculinity because they're not having testosterone levels that are healthy and that we used to see back in the days. So it's been harder, and I feel like this documentary is finally putting a stop on creating awareness to the masses where, hey, you can totally take control of your health and change this and make it a good time.
And to that point, I was just going to say that, like, you know, how many people have you met that have whatever XY condition? They go to a specialist and they tell them, there's nothing we could do. You just have to deal with this.
Yeah.
You know, and they're subjected to a life of misery, right? And so I think what you guys have done is amazing, is because we always preach about, you know, all of these modalities are great, but it's not about the one modality. It's about establishing a lifestyle around this, right? And so what I think is incredible is that you've put all these amazing minds together. There's a lot of overlap, right? Like there's a practitioner who will talk about cold plunge but does red light. And so there's so many overlap that kind of confirms what the other one said, but it's also sort of like a plethora of options that you can have to build a lifestyle that is suitable for you, because some people's, least passive resistance might be this way and mine might be that way, but it'll all get you to a lifestyle that sustains your health and that gives you this fulfillment where you become the owner of your health.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, who do I give my money to? I'm going to give it to a stockbroker and let them gamble with it. We do the same thing with our health, and we've seen the results of what that causes. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a coach, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a professional team around you that you can get access to, but it's about developing this lifestyle that becomes seamless.
And the lifestyle almost becomes, in a way, forced, right? Because you can't unlearn what you've learned. And so similar happened to us, right? Yeah. When we finished filming the 5-part documentary after 114 interviews, we can't unlearn what we've learned. We can go back to things that we used to do, right? Like right now, there's no way we're going to eat sugar after, before food, because glucose spikes. So when people watch something like this and they get the information, it's bound to happen that they'll make certain changes that then will make them feel better. Then they'll get more into it. So
that's called conscious competence. Where now it becomes hard not to do the thing.
Correct.
Not to do the thing. It's hard not to have a sleep schedule. It's not hard. It's hard to eat a bunch of carbs because I'll feel like crap because I'm so connected on how that works that it's almost immediate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's 4 stages to it. Unconscious incompetent, unconscious competent, meaning unconscious competent means I was not aware that existed. Unconscious competent is meaning now I'm aware that exists, but I don't know how to do it.
I don't know how to do
now,
it.
conscious competent is I have to work on it and wait, it's still confusing and you're working on it. And then unconscious competent is when you're driving and putting makeup and having a conversation and you don't even know how you went from point A to point B.
Sure.
It becomes part of you. Right? Yeah. And I think that you guys have been hypnotized. You can never go back.
Which is a great thing.
Which it's almost funny because you say you can't unlearn, but it's Alvin Toffler says the illiterate of the 21st century will be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, learn, unlearn, and relearn. Right? But what you guys have done is hard to unlearn because it's just science.
One of the things that is impacting us now, even till today, is the consistent confirmation of our curation process. And what I mean by that is, we had this big premiere event in Vegas at
which
the
is
A4M,
amazing.
which the American Academy of Anti-Aging is very respected. It's very difficult to
It's the biggest
attend it.
till now for alternative anti-aging medicine. It was the biggest one. It still continues to be the biggest one.
And so they invited us to have our premiere there, which for us was a big prestigious thing. It's like basically the Pope asking you to get married in the Vatican. So that was an awesome confirmation. Now, we featured Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in our documentary. At the time, he was running for president. He is now been confirmed as the Human Health Services. And so he's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. So Del Bigtree is the CEO of MAHA. He appeared in S.H.I.E.L.D. He actually wanted to be in that documentary. Tereza invited him. He played a big role in our lives with his work. And he was a producer of the Dr. Phil, Vaxxed, The Doctor Show, Emmy Award winning.
Really?
Very,
Wow.
very accomplished man. He's done a lot of advocacy and has his own nonprofit doing the same work that Bobby Kennedy was doing. They joined forces. Now they have MAHA. So
Make America healthy again.
Make America healthy again. So, when Del walked into the event, he saw who we've included, who was invited. He said, these are all the people that Bobby respects. Right. This is what we want to do. So they basically invited us to produce the inaugural MAHA Ball, which, who you are, birds of the same feather fly together.
Yeah.
And they were saying that in a complimentary way.
Yeah.
They said, we want that energy. We want you to bring that to this quintessential moment. Yeah. And so literally in, I don't know how many days, 2 days, we're going to be celebrating
2 days we're flying out.
Multiple successes, right? The victory of the new presidency and alongside with the health victory for the United States. So that for us was another further confirmation, which is like, being in the film is one thing, but saying we want to bring that brand, that energy, that level of journalism to that experience was key.
I feel like what it is we bring a lot of fun, right? We're real people.
Yeah.
We had real problems. We're not only pulling everyone in together, and people are coming together without a problem. People that actually don't even say hi to each other in the industry within the closed circles that we were told, oh, you can't put these two in the same documentary. We've done that very successfully because they understand we're the general public and they're all starving for that visibility. So not only we were able to unite, but we were able to bring this glitz and glamour and fun and Hollywood.
Yes.
So we called it the Oscars of longevity. I mean, these doctors never got dressed up like that, you know, walked on the red carpet and were interviewed
Never get
and treated like a
celebrated.
celebrity.
Yes.
They're
So
normally
true.
called quacks. They're normally called fringe.
So
They have to
true.
fight,
That's
you
so
know.
beautiful.
Which
you
is
guys
funny
do.
because when we were there, you know, they threw a mic at me and it was total ad libbed. And, you know, my whole thing was these are people that I admire and they don't get enough recognition for what they've done. I mean, these guys have put 30 years into being called the quack, being called, even our own Dr. Rudy, who, you know, they told him, what a shame that you're leaving the hospital and you're doing all this testosterone stuff.
Correct.
So he was called a quack for 15 years. And these guys, I mean, arrow after arrow after arrow thrown at them, and yet their track record shows that they've brought thousands of people to healing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In spite of conventional wisdom, right?
Yeah.
So, and you know, what I'm really excited about, first of all, I'm proud of you guys and
for real.
congratulations. What an amazing moment that you guys are living, and thank you for sharing it with us for sure. You know, we were having a conversation, Miguel and I, the other day. I'm like, dude, like life is about timing. You know, we know the repercussions of being at the wrong place at the wrong time, right? This is, I feel for like, especially from a political perspective, I feel like for the first time in my adult lifehood, like it's almost like we're at the right place at the right time, because you guys have caught this tailwind where now you've put this out into the public for public access to the masses.
Yeah.
But now you have this political governmental arm that is in agreement with what you guys are doing and saying, hey, I want to bring this more access to the general public. And to have a guy like Bobby Kennedy, who has a PhD in political and corporate corruption, who has sued all of these institutions. And the biggest point that I connect with him on, because I don't care what political background you have or what political preference you have, there is one fact. These institutions were in place to protect us from poisoned things, from bad foods, from things that are deleterious to our health. And the stuff that's going on behind the scenes that he knows of, and that he's gonna come in and clean the rat nest out.